Hey guys, in this video covering the OCR A2 psychology course, the options of applied psychology paper and the forensic option, we're going to talk about criminal thinking patterns. Now, well, I'm just going to get this out of the way. One thing I always say in these videos is I know some of you aren't interested in these, and you want tech videos. I've actually just shot some tech videos today. One on Microsoft Surface, so that's coming soon. I've also got a load of other tech videos coming soon as well. So you may have already seen some of those sprinkled in that, but if you haven't, you will be in the near future. So let's dive into this. We've already looked at some ideas of social causes of crime. So with Sutherland's differential association theory, we looked at the 9 principles of differential association. The most important one being Principle 6, that a person becomes delinquent because of an excess of definitions favourable to lawbreaking than and definitions unfavourable to lawbreaking. So that's sort of about thinking patterns. But this study that we're going to look at now, Yotchelson, sorry, I think that's how you pronounce it, Yotchelson and Same now, 1976, looked at used Freudian interviewing techniques to interview criminals. Many of them had pleaded not guilty on grounds of insanity or NGRI and were in a mental institution. So this particular breed of criminal, they did compare them with ordinary prisoners, but most of them were in NGRIs. From their work in sorry, I just have to look at my notes. St. Elizabeth's Psychiatric Hospital in Washington DC. This study was carried out over 14 years and came up from these interviews with 52 ideas about how criminals think and what constitutes a criminal thinking pattern. So let's dive in. So it was a longitudinal study, like I said, carried out over 14 years. There were 255 participants, with most of them were in GRIs and in this mental hospital, but some of them were convicted prisoners, with some were black, some were white, some were from the inner city, some were from suburbs, some were poor, some were rich. So quite a population diversity, and they were put on a program of clinical interviews. So there was no non-criminal control group. One of the main reasons for that is initially it was done as a clinical practice and not specifically as a research endeavour. It evolved over 14 years to become this paper that was published in 1976. But we need to remember that part of the goal was to treat these offenders and help them. They use Freudian interviewing techniques. So that's the idea that your behaviour is controlled by your unconscious. So in order to examples of Freudian interviewing techniques are when a therapist will say to you, report everything you think when I talk to you about this I talked to you about this event, and don't feel tainted by social diversity. That's difficult to achieve that kind of relationship, especially with someone who's NGRI, or at least claims to be NGRI. So that can be difficult to achieve, but that's what they did. I've gone kind of the wrong hand a bit, so let's mention the aims, and I'm gonna have to look at my notes for this bit. To understand the makeup of the criminal personality, that's aim 1. To establish a technique that could alter the cognitive distortions, the criminal thinking patterns. To encourage an understanding of legal responsibility, so that's where the therapy comes in. They were trying to coach these offenders to understand why they would have been legally responsible for that offence. To establish techniques that can be effective in preventing criminal behaviour. So when we talk about usefulness, there's some issues with usefulness because of control of variables, no causation. But in terms of knowing what to try and prevent and stop at an early age, because lots of these theories are lots of psychodynamic theories, lots of these thinking patterns favourable to criminal behaviour are related to childhood, as we'll see in a minute when we look at a sample of the 52 thinking patterns. So, in terms of usefulness, if they did indeed identify the correct thinking patterns, and even they acknowledge some problems with social diversity, but if they did identify the correct thinking patterns, then this research could be used to try and stop and stamp out those thinking patterns at an early age and stop people from becoming criminals. So this is the most interesting about it. Let's talk about what the thinking patterns were. Criminals are restless, dissatisfied, and irritable. And the next one is while at school, considered requesting their teachers to be impositions. So that's where that Freudian element, the behaviour is controlled by your unconscious, comes in, and that's what I was talking about usefulness, where that could be used if we can identify those criminal thinking patterns early, and we see them in children. Then maybe we can do things on a social level and on a developmental level to try and stamp out those sort of thinking patterns before they develop into criminal behaviour. Point 3: criminals try to set themselves apart from others. So that's another thing that could be identified in a developmental stage. Want to live a life of excitement at any cost. So that's why they commit crime, because they want to live a life of excitement. So again, that could be identified at an early age. People are habitually angry and are lacking empathy. Feel under no obligation to anyone or anything. So again, pretty much all of these behaviours could be identified in childhood. Are poor at responsible decision making having prejudged situations. So they've already made their mind up about what they're going to do, and they don't make a conscious effort to make a decision. Again, but bar two of those thinking patterns, if they are true, which will turn my narrator, because even Yotchelson and Sena themselves acknowledge that participants might have just said these to help their situations, but if those thinking patterns are true, then a lot of them can be identified in early childhood, and we can try and do something about them to stop people from becoming criminals. In all, 52 criminal thinking patterns were identified, but it's important to know only 30 out of the 255 people completed the course, and this was 259 people over a 14-year period. But to start with 255 and then go down to 30 completions, that was not a very big sample considering what they started out with. Okay, so let's talk about some evaluation issues. One has to be biased. Anytime you talk about psychodynamic theories, they lack a lot of scientific rigour, and it's very much based on the participant's relationship with the interviewer, and the participant's ability to talk freely is going to be influenced very heavily by the interviewer. So you've got confounding variables like interviewer characteristics. You've got biology, which is not being considered here. So reductionism. I would say though this supports a naturist or a nurturist argument for behaviour, opposite to Rain et al., which is definitely a naturist argument for behaviour. This supports a nurturist argument there, that criminal behaviour patterns, criminal thinking patterns develop during childhood. So we've got bias, we've got nature, nurture, and we've got reductionism, which actually all the theories for the turning to crime aspect of the specification are reductionist, because they only focus on one element of explaining why. We've also got ethnocentrism. They're all men, so that might not be representative of women's criminal thinking battles. There's been a lot of research done to show that men think differently to women, so that might be an issue here. Similarly, they're all in a mental hospital in the USA, so there's ethnocentrism there. If we're talking about this being a developmental thing, cultural variables are going to come into it, so that's going to be a very big factor. So in terms of evaluation, we've got usefulness reductionism, ethnocentrism, bias, and a good thing about it is that it gathered lots of qualitative data and really explained why people turned to crime, and didn't just give a load of numbers quantitative data about the types of crimes committed in the different places, because that's one criticism of Gudjonsson and Brown's their explanation of criminal behaviours doesn't just tell you how criminals attribute their actions. It doesn't explain why. So a good thing about this is it explains why. So that was Yotchel-Sonnen's Same Now, 1976. Identifying criminal thinking patterns. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. There'll be more videos coming soon, more tech videos coming soon, and more psychology videos. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. My website address is down below. Check it out. I've got not yet, but in the coming weeks, once I've shot all these videos, because I'm on a video bonanza at the moment, I'm going to be kind of restructuring my website and doing some interesting stuff over there. So be sure to check that out. tomdesperate.com. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye guys.